Hi guys, and welcome to another video. And it's a new week and everything is good with the world again. So you guys would have known over the last couple of weeks Cooper's had an injury, then he was feeling ill, and because of that I had a lack of sleep, I was exhausted, different things like that. But the dog is back to normal, I'm back to normal, and everything is good. So it's been an interesting week, and there's something that's sort of happened this week that I've kind of followed on Instagram that I think may be worth talking about. But in this I'm not just going to pick out the negatives. I'm not going to pick the negatives out and just try and destroy it. I feel like the message was the right idea. I get what the guy was trying to do. But the way in which it come over probably hasn't come out the way maybe he intended it. And maybe instead of deleting the post and putting a video up saying, look, I realise that this has come across the wrong way, I'll redo it and I'll get my message out there. What he's actually done is he's left the videos up there, kind of backtracked on himself, and then he's actually doubled down a little bit later on. But I'm not going to go into that far. What I'm going to do is I've broken it up into 3 different bits, because like I say, I agree with the message he was trying to put out, but the way in which it come out hasn't really worked. Now, I don't want to be the person that traffics lots of negativity towards this person, so I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to put the video up. I'm just going to play the audio behind the picture, and so that you guys can hear what it is, and then I'll have my say to why I agree with it, or why I think it's the right message, but also why it hasn't come across the right way. So first off, it is the point in which I agree with. So this is the first part, which kind of sets up the message that he's trying to get over.
Right, so what's going on? There's a lot of dog attacks these last couple of years, with a serious increase in fatalities, and then you don't get to hear about the ones where somebody's been probably mutilated but not killed. There's a certain type of dog and a certain type of mentality of people that own these certain dogs. It is the weaponizing of dogs. It's a serious problem. I think the number of fatalities has increased because the proportion of dogs that are kept as weapons, sometimes unwittingly. So sometimes these people, they want a dog to be a watchdog and to sort of be a pet, but really the primary reason is if somebody bad comes around, that it's going to frighten them off or scare them.
So this is kind of like the setup. So this is the setup to what his message is. And actually I think his message is correct, that there are people out there at the moment that are using dogs as status dogs to have a certain image around their community or around the people that they surround themselves with. And it is an issue at the moment, is that there are people that have these dogs that don't have them for the right reasons, or they're not strong enough as handlers in order to keep on top of the dog. And they kind of, the dog's socialization isn't the best. And yes, it is an issue at the moment with that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to throw any breeds under the bus and say which breeds they are, but there is a kind of issue with sort of status dogs and the image in people. The reason that people get these dogs is for an image. It's not because they like the dogs. It's not because they really like the breed, etc. It's not because they get the dog because that breed suits their lifestyle. It is an image and a kind of status stuff. So actually his general message to start off with is very correct, and it is something that probably needs to get out there. Now, we do know that there's been some dog attacks that have ended in fatalities recently. The actual breed of these dogs has never been, hasn't been confirmed yet. There's been rumours about what breed these dogs are, but there's nothing that's actually been confirmed. So although you can put it towards a certain breed with nothing confirmed, I don't feel it's right that you go out there and you call out certain breeds or certain dogs, because at the moment we have no confirmation of what actual dog has caused the 2 recent attacks that have turned out to be fatalities.
Now, the sad fact is, if you have a dog as a guard dog within your house, so whatever level, that's from somebody that just got one that they want it to sort of just bark ferociously and the burglar goes down the road, to somebody that's proactively doing man work and training a dog to bite. The sad fact is that most of those dogs are never going to bite anybody bad at all, ever. They're not going to bite a burglar, they're not going to bite a baddie, The person that's most likely to end up getting bitten by one of these and potentially ultimately killed is somebody known to that dog. It's going to be a family member, a close family member, somebody visiting that person's house, or it's going to be an extended family member that's come round, or possibly a tradesperson that's going to get attacked by one of these dogs. Don't be deluded that if you have a guard dog that it's going to look after you. Of course it is. But once they get a taste for biting, those bites will progressively get worse, and then you're likely to be killed by your own dog.
Now, this is the part of the story in which I took not offence to. I think offence may be a little bit too much. But this is the part of the story where I felt a little bit attacked as a GP dog handler, in terms of putting it down to man working or people that own dogs that they teach to bite. Now, with the nature of this job, we don't deal with the nicest of people. Therefore, we have to go above and beyond what the normal pet owner would normally do. So it is true that we teach our dogs to bite, but I would say out of everyone that I've met whilst I've been doing this, whether it's been people I've chatted to or people I've physically met, I would say that probably 95 to 98% of the people that I speak to or I've met are 100% committed to making sure that their dogs are the safest they can be. And if that means that when people come around their house, that the dogs go into certain areas where no one can get to them, then that's what they do. Now, to point the finger towards us and say that our dogs are more likely to bite and kill us than they are someone that they don't know is misinformation. And that can work in two different ways. Is that someone could look into that and say, well, actually that dog is a GP dog, it's not necessarily going to bite me, it's more likely to bite him. Then they end up getting bitten because they get too close. We spend a lot of time making sure that people are aware of boundaries with our dogs and not welcoming people into boundaries where we know the dog is not going to be comfortable. I know that I can walk in certain areas with my dog, full length of the lead, and walk past lots of people, and the dog won't even bat an eyelid because he is socialised in that way. But I also know that there are situations where I need to keep the dog on a short lead. If I'm walking through like a busy area with lots of people running, there's lots of sounds, and the dog could be taken by surprise by people running past or whatever. I understand that I need to take extra precautions in order to make sure the dog doesn't get startled. So to point it towards GP dog handlers, I think that's where the mistake was, and I think that's why he got a lot of flack, is because GP dog handlers and sport dog handlers, they spend a lot of time making sure that their dog is as safe as they can be, and that they make sure that in the general life of that dog, that the dog is never put in a position where it feels it has to do that outside of serious situations or outside sort of the sporting area. So I think that's where he got a lot of flack, and I don't think he needed to bring GP dogs into it, because if you look at a fatalities list, I'll put in the description below all of the fatalities of a dog attack in the UK recently. I don't think you can point any of them at GP dog handlers or sport dog handlers. Looking through the breeds, very few of them dogs are going to be GP certified with a team certificate, so therefore they are not GP working dogs. And that's what he means by man working, is a GP working dog. Same as my dog with my German Shepherd, it'll be the same with like Rottweilers, Dobermans, Malinois. So I know I haven't got a statistic on like dog attacks and what breeds they are and things like that, but because we know the last two dog attacks that have ended in fatalities the breeds haven't been put out there, to point it towards GP dog handlers and possibly sport dog handlers who teach biting, I think is where his mistake was. And I think that's where a lot of people took offence, because they felt like he was throwing us under the bus when it was actually nothing to do with us to start off with.
So we're going to get a little bit of clarity, because obviously we've been getting some feedback about the post that I put up last week. So when we're talking about people that do man work with dogs, you do get people that do it legitimately, and there's not a problem with that essentially, there are a couple of issues, I think, but I mean, essentially, there's nothing wrong with that. Most of those people, their dogs are trained to an extremely high level. I need to get that out there. You know, these dogs are really well trained dogs. That you're going to find that they're probably amongst the best trained dogs in the country. What I'm getting at is another segment of society altogether that literally is keeping these dogs. They're just guard dogs. They're there to guard property. People live with them within their house, but they're another segment that are beyond that, and the people they're just literally strutting around the streets with these dogs. They are not pets.
And there we have the final part. So the final part is him kind of backtracking, and I think he has done himself a favour by doing that. Is that he's obviously realised through the comments that he has upset a certain group of people, and a certain group of people that work very hard to make sure that their dogs are safe. Now, as I said, with the work that we do, we have to go above and beyond what the normal pet owner is normally going to do. But it's a part of the job, and he has sort of backtracked in order to try and take the flack off of himself. And again, I think because he's using guard dog, it's kind of pointed at sort of security, where if he used sort of guarding breeds, etc., that would have taken it away from sort of a personal kind of side. So he has kind of backtracked on it, and I think he has obviously pointed it towards his original point of people with sort of status dogs, and I think that's the way in which you have to say it, people that have status dogs. So I think he has done the right thing. Now, what I would probably say to him is that I would take down the first 3 parts, or take down the 4-part series, and then just do a video saying, look, I realised that my message didn't come over the way I intended. I've taken them posts down, therefore people won't be able to see them in the future and still get the misinformation. What I would say is he takes them posts down, just do a video saying, look, it's come over the wrong way, I didn't mean it to come over that way, I'm going to redo the videos, and then get his point out. Because like I say, I think the point of dog attacks being by people with status dogs, or people that have ill-trained their dogs, or people that haven't been on top of the breed of their dog, I think is an important message. So I think the actual message is correct, but like I say, I think it just come over the wrong way. So if you are watching this, I would say, look, delete the 4 parts, put up an apology just saying it's come out the wrong way, I'm going to redo it, and then redo it and make sure you get your message over the right way, because I do think it is important. So guys, that's my thoughts on it. Look, I don't want to push people towards him so he gets negative comments or negative feedback, but that's my thoughts on it. And like I say, I think the message out there was correct, but it's just possibly come over the wrong way. I think with someone that has a big following, I think sometimes people feel like they need to comment on something that they're not educated about, or they don't know the full information about. There was an incident not too long ago at Brixton Academy where a security dog handler died. It would have been very easy for me to do a video about that because it was hot and people were going to be searching for it. Therefore, I would have gained traffic to my channel. So it would have been very easy for me to do that, but I didn't, because I didn't know all the information. I don't feel like me having my say then was going to do anything good to the investigation. I would have maybe been putting misinformation out there that maybe would have caused friction in sort of the investigation. So I'd rather not get involved in that, and then maybe do a video once all the information is out there. So like I say, I think when you have a following, sometimes you don't have to comment on everything, but if you do, make sure that you are educated on it and it comes over the right way, and maybe even ask some people before you post it and say, look, is this coming out the way that I think it should? So guys, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below for loads more videos. Then down in the link below is also my Patreon if you enjoy or you want to support what I do. The link's down there. From £3 a month you can help me do what I do. And yeah, I'll see you again in the next one. Cheers for watching. See you later. Bye.